listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katee Van Horn.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Katee Van Horn.
And this is Jackye Clayton. I'm trying to get it right. It just feels weird. Yeah.
That sounded more like you're on The Price is Right. So I feel good about it.
Yeah,
I think
kind of felt
good.
it.
So this is the Inclusive AF podcast. And we are coming to you from the heat of the summertime. And we need to, Ericka, we don't even know where you're from, but we'll ask you that here in a bit. We have a special guest with us today. Ericka Hines is joining us. And so we are going to jump right in. So Ericka, I would love for you to introduce yourself, share a little bit about, who you are with our listeners.
Yeah, my name is Ericka Hines, and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I join you from heat and humidity. And a little bit about me, I run a firm called Every Level Leadership. And I like to say that I like to refer to myself as a DEI practitioner with a race equity sort of specialty.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time, first off. Would love to hear just how you got into this work and kind of what inspired you to kind of get started on doing this leadership work.
Yeah. So on August 1st, it'll be 12 years that I've been doing this work. And so I remember distinctly that when I first started out, I had no intention of doing DEI work. I was going to do women's leadership, which is like gigantically broad. But I was like, that's what I'm about, women's leadership. And so my intro into doing specifically work around inclusion and equity and diversity and racial equity came from when you go out into the consultant world, I'll just be very transparent. Like, you take any job that you can get, right? Because you want to be able to feed yourself and have a roof over your head. And so I fell into the work 12 years ago and quickly found that it was more interesting than what I had originally set out to do. It was more fulfilling than what I set out to do. And at that time, that was like, we were like just starting to talk about unconscious biases. And I was like, what is this? Let's explore that. So now I'm sort of like, oh, unconscious biases, like, that's okay. Yeah, whatever. Everybody knows. That's fine. Move on. Let's move on. But that's what brought me to the work. And what really made it a vocation was I've always been oriented towards like social justice and social change. And I began to view doing this type of work as one of the ways in which I could help create social change. So
I love that. It's so important. I think I don't know if I've actually met somebody who said, I'm going to do diversity and equity work. I think it's we should start asking everyone, how did they get into this space? But that's such a long time. I'm gonna ask, what do you think keeps you doing it? I can understand now and listening to the social justice, but I have it's not diversity fatigue. Sometimes it's diversity practitioner fatigue, where I'm like, I swear to God, like, not one more day. If one more person asked me to do this, I'm out. I am out.
Yeah.
How do you can sustain doing it for that amount of time and still smile?
There's a couple of ways. So absolutely, like co-sign, if there were 5 of me, 5 times, diversity practitioner fatigue. Also co-sign the idea that, we can be operating, or, sometimes I think about, like, I'm operating and like doing my little piece of the pie here, and the entire world has decided to explode. Therefore, my little piece of the pie means nothing because the entire world. So Um, I didn't expect to sort of, I feel like I'm about to go deep. So this
It's
is,
okay.
we're gonna do this. So I think one of the things that sustains me is like when big events that are happening that are unjust, I do go back to my roots of being committed to social change. And I literally go back to books that have sustained me in terms of my desire to have impact. So, like, one of the places, there's a book, one of the places that I like call Mecca is, although that might be like, inappropriate. So, what I call a divine place for me is the Highlander Center. And so they were early, like they were one of the places where civil rights was started. And so what sustains me is going back to like the early roots of folks and movements that I admire. And I'm like, all right, like none of this is new, right? Like the world has been unjust and we just get flare-ups of unjustness. And that progress takes time. And so I think what sustains me is to be like, all right, go watch Hulu, eat ice cream, yell at the world, rest for a couple of days, but then go back to where you know that you can have influence and do the work.
That's a lot better than my plan of like just drinking Corona and calling Katie at midnight.
I mean, no, that happens too. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, no,
It's a
let me add.
balance. It's a balance.
I should probably not
That's
have like said that I was like that I'm sitting here in like this very like monk like life. No, there's a lot of also like I'm going to watch TikTok for 7 hours and then I'm going to watch Hulu and then I'm going to talk to my
yes.
friend and we're going to
Yep.
talk about how everyone was horrible and we're going to devolve into whatever. No, 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 no. It's everything. It's all of that in between. The point is that I go like, all right, I've had that.
Yes.
Do I want to continue? Okay.
Right.
I think
Right.
that's such a critical piece because I think we all have, or hopefully folks have those spaces where you can have the silly conversations and watch TikTok and talk about, what feud is going on between what mom on
Oh my
TikTok, because
gosh.
there's a lot going on with some moms on TikTok that I just recently saw. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like, there's
Yeah.
always something, or, Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial that, everyone on TikTok thought they could dissect, and all of a sudden we're all lawyers, and always fascinating to us. But I think there's also, it is that you have to have those spaces where you can just go completely somewhere away from what
Yeah.
we do every day, all day. But yeah, the Corona helps too.
Yep.
That's also good. Corona beer, to be clear, not Corona.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think that there's like when people ask me like, what do you read? I don't read. I mean, like, yeah, I have workbooks, right? And I have a lot of those workbooks. But in terms of like fiction, I don't read things that are about racialized trauma or like gender-based trauma. No, I literally read cozy mysteries.
Yep. I love that.
And that's perfect. Yeah.
Oh
Mine is
yeah.
more smut novel. I'm a smut novel girl
Oh, well, there's
personally.
that
So
too.
yeah.
I just go over here and I'm like, yes, yes. I'll be like, whatever, the world is perfect. So yeah, let's go solve a murder.
Everything's fine. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love though. I have a question though. What's the biggest change you've seen in the last 12 years? Like, are you seeing the same types of clients? Who was hiring you 12 years ago versus who is hiring you today?
Oh, I thought you were going to say societally. No, I was like, wait, I haven't answered. No. So who is hiring me today? Um, when I first started out, I was doing a lot of work with government agencies, and it was really around like, how can we be more diverse and how can we be more inclusive? And it really was like, all right, this is like the folks who were hiring me really wanted to like understand the 101 level of how this works. And now the folks who hire me, so I'm going to be cheeky. They think they understand the 101 level, and I have to go like, do you? Like, we're going back to the beginning, and I often like, sort of start it by saying, for some of you, this is review. I'm going to just think that you know it, but we're all going to get on the same page. But I mean, I think honestly, for anyone who does the work that we did, 2020 blew everything up. And I went
Yes.
from being like comfortably busy to overwhelmingly busy to back to comfortably busy, but also wanting to like move my business in a different direction. And so I don't know about you all, but like I'd say to clients, I was like, look, everyone decided that they suddenly wanted to be anti-racist as of June 2020. And I also want to be clear to you that if you think that you're going to be anti-racist in 24 months, you're wrong. So now that we've gotten that established, let's move on.
Right. I think if you look, I don't know if you saw it. So I work at Textio. I report to Karen Snyder, and we were having these conversations, and she posted on LinkedIn this past week. Like, there's so many people that are passionate about this that refuse to recognize, like, you really need a practitioner to do this work.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, you're right. There's a lot of pop like in 2020, and unfortunately, there are a lot of like hacks, like that came out of 2020 that gave some
Agreed.
really bad advice that we're
Right.
seeing into the place, and you're like, no. But I think that you're right. We're also seeing there. I think we're seeing some significant changes, like
Mm,
there are things that I can think as a practitioner, especially going where I'm dedicated to one client. When my boss says, "This is what we're doing for the executive team, and this is not an optional. This is not a nice to.
yeah.
This is what's
Yeah.
expected at a minimum commitment. This is what it's almost like happy tears because if people are doing it right, they need to get to those spaces. Some people are still having that one anti-bias class.
Mhm.
That's what I was also going to say. I'm like, I agree with you wholeheartedly that June 2020, it was like, we all need to do this immediately and we're going to fix it in
Right.
25 minutes or
Yeah.
less. And you're like, no, sorry.
And could you just record it for us? Because like
Yes,
I kind of want to
yes,
be
my
able
favorite.
to do it on our
Yes.
time, and we won't
Yeah.
engage. We
You
don't need to
trying
engage
trigger
about
me,
it.
Erica.
Right,
Can
right,
you just send me a
right.
one pager?
Uh-huh. Yes.
No.
Yeah, you're going to send us all over the edge right now. But I do think there's also, to Jackie's point, like there is this, you have folks that are still at that 101 level.
Yeah.
And then you have other folks that are trying to move the needle.
Yep.
But I agree with both of you that it is, you have to have that expert that can come in and actually help you with what do you need to do to actually make this real and make a change happen, not just have that 2-hour anti-bias training or whatever it might be. Like, how do you dig into the systems and the tools and the processes?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the piece that folks did. I truly believe, I don't know what your thoughts are, but so many people did reach out and it was like, oh, we're just going to do this training and then it's going to be fine. And you're like, no, it won't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Someone asked me to do a 30-minute lunch and learn on anti-bias, and I was like, my ego, tripped me up. So, like,
Yeah. Were you
I
like, are you
politely declined.
joking? Like, are you joking?
Yes, I was like, wow.
So if you could
Cool.
go ahead and knock out racism in 30 minutes or less, that'd be great.
Boom.
Thanks, Jackye.
I'm like, in 30 minutes, it's like, hi, my name is Jackye. This is bias. This is unconscious bias. Okay, bye. Like, I don't
The
even
end.
know. Like, yeah. Like, any questions?
Well, I don't know about you all. I find myself doing a lot of like at the beginning, like even before I have the client, we're like we're in conversation, or we're just at the beginning of our engagement with each other. I find myself saying things to them like, oh, just so you know, I don't actually have all the answers. Like this is going to be an iterative process. Like we're going to try some things aren't going to work. We're going to come back. Like you hired me because I have a lot of tools. And also so that I can like hold this process for you. Right? I'm going to hold it because, but let me be clear. I also want to give it back to you. Like I'm not trying to hold this forever. I don't want to work with you forever. Like I want to work with you enough and I want to send you on your way. But I find myself sort of like kind of really trying to promote to them what might be difficult about this in the beginning. Like I will say to them, at some point you'll resist me. At some point you'll like resist the fact that like what I'm suggesting to you, like you're not going to like it or somebody's not going to like it. And I was like, I just want us to be clear that that's going to happen because when I name it,
That's
I
right.
don't suddenly want you to be like met out of the blue where it's like, no, we're committed to this idea, right? But no one's resisting it. I'm like, remember how I told you this would come up?
I want to get a bell, Ericka, where I could just be like, here it is. Like,
Well,
go ahead.
I think it's also like if you think about change management, which is a lot of the work that this is.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think we all know that in change management, there's that resistance phase and the denial phase and all the phases that you see happen. But then there's also on top of that, when you're talking about this type of work, there's a personal,
Oh gosh.
like you're personally attacking there's a personal piece to it. And that's why when I'm talking to folks, you know, I do talk about also that you're on a personal journey and on a company journey, and everyone's on their
That's
own
right.
at their own place
That's
in
right.
the journey and at different phases of the journey. And each person is going to have those reactions at different moments. And sometimes it's going to be when you're least expecting it. And even myself, as I do this work, there are times when someone will say something in a room and I'm like, ooh, okay, that was a little bit of a gut punch. And I need to now take that in, feel some sort of way, but also not react, and process this and come back with what's the right answer, not what does that defense mechanism want me to say. Not all white people, not all white women, no, all.
Um,
all.
But I love what Erica says on her website. I don't know if you got a chance to see this part, but she's like, you have to, for change, you have to be humble and ready to fumble. I am going to
Nice.
ask to borrow that because I was like, yes, that's it. I mean, and I have to recognize that, now with Beyonce's "Break My Soul" song, I'll be like, I'll be right back, and I can just turn it up, and then I'll come back. But I love the humble, ready to fumble concept, and I'd love to know, like, tell me more. Like, okay, so then you get to the point where we know we all get where people like now they're you're peeling back the onion, and they got to the core, or now they recognize why this happened, how this happened. When you're doing these long, like, I'm mad at you, or I'm frustrated because this hurts, or this is not fun work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Besides just like bringing it back up to the attention, what have you done, or do you have a situation that you can share that you think that you ended up giving yourself a pat on the back at the end of the day?
Visionary voices, bold breakthroughs. This is Shally's Alley, where top recruiting minds spill their best-kept secrets live every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Raw, unfiltered conversations on sourcing, hiring, and the future of talent, where we ask the tough questions no one else will. Tune in and level up.
So, if I'm understanding you, it's like when people show their resistance, like how do I handle that resistance?
Yes.
Okay, this is when I'm going to refer to the fact that I have been pretty much spent 20 years in therapy. And in therapy, what they teach you, I'm going to be one of those people. In therapy, what they teach you is that it is not your responsibility to take on other people's baggage.
Yes.
And so, and that's not me trying to be like a smartass. It's literally like that is what I do. I will be like, okay, so I understand that you're upset. I understand that you don't like this. I understand that you don't like me. And they'll be like, no, I like you. I love you. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, either way, if I feel like I've gone as far as I can go in terms of like holding that individual like luggage, right? The baggage that they're like, I'm going to put everything out there and I'm going to let you know. And I want you to pick up my baggage and literally carry me through this because I am at a crossroads. I go, so I'm going to ask you what you need to do so that you pick up your own baggage and you take it back. Like, I feel like we've discussed
Mhm.
this as much as we can discuss it in like this big, group. And, when you have to have that one-on-one time, and I'm like, I hear you, I understand you, and I'm going to give you a few questions to reflect on.
Why
That's
are
how
you like that? Like,
Why
start with
are
that
you
question.
like?
it's
Who hurt you?
really more
Oh,
like,
sorry.
You
stop
know,
doing that. Stop it.
Stop
and
it. How'd you
you're
get
you're
here? Yeah.
you're making me think of a book. It's an Oprah book because we love her.
Yeah, Miss O, absolutely.
And I'm gonna forget the name of it, but of course it's not gonna come.
Oh, go ahead.
It's not the what happened to you. It's yes, what happened to you, and it's a great book by Oprah and Bruce Perry, one of the
Mhm.
doctors that's always on her or was on her show. And it basically is just those things like how do you start to I'm going to use the word that everyone hates, the unpack. I start to unpack the actual things that have happened to you that make
Mhm.
you react or behave in certain ways, and not the let me blame my parents for everything or let me blame my childhood for everything, but just the oh, okay, now I understand that I react this way because of that. But to your point, you have to own that. It's not anyone else's to own. It's
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah. And I also think that there's a certain amount of like, I don't know, I try to share times when I was like closed-minded and said things that I mean, a place where I feel like, well, not feel, I know I had to do work was in terms of um learning more about the trans community.
Hmm.
And so I talk about early like mistakes that I made 10 years ago that weren't appropriate, that like did not did a disservice, hurt people's feelings. I caused harm. And so
Mhm.
I talk about my reaction to when somebody said like, yeah, you caused harm.
Hmm.
So I mean, I do think that there's also this element of like when a person is like replicating that, I also tell them like, I get where you are, and I'm also telling you like this is what I did, not because I'm perfect, but to let you know you're human.
Hmm.
But in your humanness, that does not mean that you get to leave me with the crap that you feel about your humanness. All I'm trying to say to you
Mhm.
is like, I get it.
That's right.
I've been there. I've done it. I was on my feelings. I was like, I am not that person. I have fallen out on the floor and I'm on the other side.
And you're gonna have to take
Mhm.
your whole human self right back out that door. And
Right.
like
Exactly.
we'll see you will see you later. I
Yeah.
think that is a great point. And um, you know, I've always said, like usually when those things come up, like that's your sign, and you need to sit in it for a minute. Whatever
Yeah.
is coming up is like
Exactly.
because not only am I here to help, I'm getting paid to be here. This is exactly what you wanted. That's
Yep.
how this works. And then you have
Yeah.
to explain that to organizations. I don't know if this has been your experience, but you have to explain getting to the place of diversity and inclusion is a painful, disruptive process.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to make s'mores and sing kumbaya. It's not fun. There's conflict. And so, what part
Right.
of this is an exercise is learning how to manage and deal with conflict in a way without resorting to like hurting someone. There's a difference of
Mhm.
having. That's why we're having these tough people have to learn to have real tough conversations.
Or throwing a temper tantrum.
Or throwing a temper tantrum.
Right? So,
Yes.
so they're
Yes.
like, I may not have hurt you, Katie, but I'm a fall out in front of everybody
Right. That's right.
as an
Yes.
adult. And
Right.
then when I'm asked to take a time out
That's
because that's what I need, I'm gonna fall
Mhm.
out some more and try and get
Mhm.
like 4 other people to fall out with me. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You go fall out over there. We're gonna take 10 minutes. Let's all
Right.
have whatever feelings. I'm gonna have my feelings too, but you know what? I'm actually have them during those 10 minutes, not right now.
Yep.
But
Right.
you go collect yourself and I'm gonna check on you. I'm gonna even and by the way, when I mean check on you, I'm gonna be like, do you want to discuss something? Because we're gonna go back in here and I'm gonna continue to run this training.
Right.
Yep.
So I just want you to know that this train is moving forward and you can either sit there and have your lip out, fine, or you can be a part of the training. Both are fine, but we're still moving forward.
That's right. I love that.
And I think that's also hard for people to like even, I think the reactionary temper tantrum, the, oh, you're, saying bad things about me, you're making me feel badly. And you're like, no, no, I'm not. I'm holding you accountable. I'm letting you know what isn't okay anymore. And
Yep.
Jackie asked earlier about like what has evolved over the last 12 years or what's changed for you. And like trans language, that's a perfect like example
Yeah.
of what we knew 12 years ago or thought was okay versus today. I'm, the trans community, I can, I think there's a lot of different things that it's, no, you can't say that, feel that way, think that way. Like, this is what I need.
Mhm.
This is where I need you to be now. And I
Mhm.
think that's the part that's also hard, is that it's that continual, you said, did I have a closed mindset? Was I closed off to the idea of something, and having to shift that. And we are having to be so adaptable and so open to change and open to what else, how else can we
Yeah.
learn? What else can we learn about this topic? And I think that's hard. Like that is very hard to always be like, hey, I could be wrong about this. Hey,
Yeah.
I could learn something new about this.
Right.
Because we do want to be right. We do want to know, and to be like, actually just maybe not so much, you don't know, like give it a minute. So I think that's part of it too. But I do appreciate that it is the go take a time out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'd rather you go take a time out and sit in your feelings for that 10 minutes and come back and be
Mhm.
productive
Mhm.
versus disrupting the entire situation. Because to your point, we're all moving forward. Come on when you're ready.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I did want to say, it might be a shameless plug. There is merch with Be Humble and Ready to Fumble on it on my website.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I am a
I have
purchaser of
I have a
things.
shop. I have a shop with stuff on it. So there's a Be Humble, Ready to Fumble. There's also Thriving, Not Surviving, which has to do with my new initiative about Black women thriving.
When
And
I
then
get there,
there's
I'll buy that shirt.
okay.
I don't want to
So
misrepresent the
so
brand.
there's a lot of stuff there, but you can definitely have the mug that says Be Humble and Ready to Fumble. It can be all yours.
That's awesome. That
So
is awesome.
excited.
So I know
I
what
might have it by
Jackie's
then.
getting. I know what Jackie's getting for Christmas now. So that's perfect. I love it. So what are you learning about now? What are you working on right now with clients that maybe has been
Mhm.
different than in the past? You just mentioned a new initiative that you're
Mhm.
working on, but what are some of the things that you're excited about or that you're working on that are cool and new, or not new and cool, but just the work?
So, I mean, I'll talk about the client piece, and then, I mean, if you don't mind, I'd love to talk about the new research around Black women in the workplace,
Absolutely.
which I hope to be working with clients with, but the research just came out a month ago, so we're still in like, look, it's here. But I think the thing that I'm most excited to work with clients on, um, I like my colleagues will tell you, like, I if I never teach another unconscious bias training, I will die happily.
Same.
Like, but also, so So I like to say to them, they're like, we know you don't like 101 stuff. I'm like, no, like we got to get into, how is this showing up in your hiring practices? How is this showing up in like your values? So I really like getting into the whole like, what is your plan? Like we can have strategies all day, but like I want to help you figure out what your plan is so that like this is like so that we begin to like embed this into how your company runs, right?
Mm,
And so when we start getting to those conversations where they're like, oh, okay, we get that, we've seen that, like we're changing our um like our retention metrics so that that we require like evidence so that managers aren't like, you know what, I like Jackye, so therefore Jackie's, the things we all see. Like I like doing that stuff and getting into the like, what are we going to fundamentally change now and put in place so that this stays put
mm-hmm.
beyond your knowledge, beyond the like knowledge building.
Mm-hmm.
um and I'm getting to do that more and more, and I think it's partially because I say to my clients, like, look, go. I actually have done videos on some of those 101 topics. I'm like, go watch those. We'll debrief. It's all good. But I'm like, I want to spend my time here. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it's backfired. I thought that they were further along than they were, and
Mm-hmm.
we had to go back to the 101, and I was like, why are we here again?
Yes.
Um,
Oh.
yeah.
But isn't it cool? This is the part that I will say, when you're talking about, kind of the promotion process and being able to like have those conversations and say, okay, and you don't maybe have to call them out because usually one of their peers will, or they'll say something and then they'll go, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way, or
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I am using language that maybe isn't great for whatever. And once that light bulb goes off, and I think I've shared the story a few times. When I was at my prior company, we had been doing a ton of work on bias and promotions and review process and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had like a group of engineers, mostly white males, sitting
Nice.
in a room, and we were doing a calibration session on all of the engineers in the whole company, their subordinates. And the someone said something, and you literally saw every head like look up and like look at the person like, did you just say that out loud? Like, you're not supposed to say that anymore. That's not okay.
Yes.
That's not how we're talking about this
Yes.
anymore. And that's the coolest part too, is when they start to like get it themselves, and you don't have to be the one to correct or
Mm-hmm.
to help them with the language, all that good stuff. So
Or
that
when,
part's fun. I agree with you.
yeah. Or when like you just make a suggestion and they run with it and they're like, hey, I just want you to look at this. Like give me feedback. And I'm like, what? Oh, where did you even get that from? Like not
Yes.
in a bad way, but I was like, this
No,
is
yeah.
amazing. I'd never thought of that rubric.
It's
Thank you. May I use this?
absolutely.
And it
I think
usually
it's
is the
absolutely
engineers.
true. We just launched a training class, and someone was like, "Oh, did Jackye do this?" I was like, "No, Jackye did not." Turns out
Mm-hmm.
we there's more people that can do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's lovely, and it's I think what's difficult in my and tell me if you've had this experience is that I don't it is fragile. After you get to that space, it is fragile, and it is, I think, interesting to see one new person in an organization that maybe not was not vetted
Mm-hmm.
properly, or where an exception was made, can like set your organization fully backwards, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I try to explain,
Right.
you don't know unconscious bias till it hits you in the face, and when it does, it's too late.
Yeah.
There's not a amount of training. You can't control your mouth. You're gonna fall out on the floor. So you think you're ready. You don't know if you're ready,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And it's just so interesting, you know.
It is uh it's interesting, and also I feel I don't know. This is where I have started to say, I don't say this to clients, but here I'm going to say it on the podcast. I
It's a
say it
safe
amongst,
pace. It's just us three. No one's listening. It's
No one's
fine.
gonna
I'm
hear
just
it.
kidding.
No.
what
Yeah.
I say amongst my peers is at some point in like a relationship with the client, I have to say to myself, I can't care more. I can't care
That's right.
more than you
That's
about
right.
your place becoming diverse and inclusive and equitable. Like I cannot invest more energy
That's right.
than you are willing to invest. So if you decide that this thing, which could be like transforming your organization, that you're like, nope,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not like, it's not my job to like continue to push that transformation on you. What is my job is to like close out the deliverables, get you to where I think that you can get in a way that I like, not that I assume like a matriarchal role. It's more like, if I can assess that you're only going to get here and you've decided you don't want to do anymore, I feel like my responsibility is to get you there, get you set up, and let you be.
Amen. And I think we've all been in that situation where you've had a client where you're like, I don't know how else to say this, explain it, walk through it, justify it, whatever the word is, to get you on board. And that it can be hiring, it can be any of the pieces of the puzzle around people.
Yeah.
And I think we've all, whether it's a department within a company or a group or whatever it might be, where you do have that pushback, and it is like, okay, I'm at the end of the day, I get to walk away and I wish you well.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart that you're not going to do more, because it will make such a huge positive impact on your
Yep.
organization.
And I'm deeply frustrated.
And it's frustrating. And I want to shake you just a scotch, but I am going to walk away. And
Yeah.
and that's the part. But every one of those, I also have, that person that then reaches out from that team that says, can you just push a little bit harder? Because they're almost there. Or can you say it this way or whatever? And I've had so many of those happen too, where like,
tell me what that's like, because I don't think I have a lot of those.
Well, like you'll have someone on the team that will be like, if they just could hear you say it this way or what, and it is one of those things, or hear it from someone else, and I mean, Jackye knows this because she's actually been one of the people. I'll bring other people into the conversation. If you can't hear me say it, maybe you can hear Jackye say it, or maybe you can hear whoever say it in a different way than what I'm going to put it, and that will actually help with the impact. Because I think there's just those groups. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm walking away hoping that you implement this and hoping that you actually make these changes, because it will be, we talk about the small tweaks that you can make in organizations and the little things that you can do that will make such a huge impact. And you're like, if you would just do these little tiny things.
Right.
You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. Sorry,
So
I'm not much of a singer.
So when Beyonce came out with that song, I was like, that should be the tagline for Black Women Thriving, because this piece around, so the research project that we did are doing was around looking at what did thriving in the workplace look like for Black women, and asking Black women, what are the conditions that you think need to be in place at work for you to thrive? And before we even got to those two questions, we asked Black women, what do you think it means to thrive? Like, what does thriving mean to you? Like, the question that we asked our focus groups was, tell me what you think thriving means. And like, this hurt my heart because when we did these focus groups, not once, not twice, but over 15 times, 20 times, we heard, I don't know. No one's ever asked me what thriving means to me. And then they followed, without us asking this question, they said, but I know I don't have it.
This is William Tincup, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Indeed FutureWorks. Ryan and I attended the conference last year, and we created a limited series for Indeed where we talked to their customers. Great stories around TA and how they use Indeed to the max. So check it out. It's just Indeed FutureWorks 2024. You can search for it wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks.
So I didn't ask, like, do you think you have? They were like, I can't visualize and tell you what it means, but I know I don't have it at work. And so, of course, that was super depressing. And then we were like, okay, but we also have research about what thriving, like, there's been research out there, like, what does thriving look like in the workplace? And so what we did in this research is we said, all right, if we look at these premises of what thriving looks like, I want to ask Black women, like, do you think you have this? And like, what is inhibiting you as a Black woman from thriving? Because a lot of times people are like overall, the research around thriving is like, oh, it's about burnout. What stops people from thriving is like not having autonomy. And what we heard from Black women is also that there is the fact that you're a Black woman in the workplace, and what is the impact of systemic, historical inequities that find themselves deeply woven into how organizations run, that keep Black women from thriving from every place, from like their paychecks to also like their well-being. I mean, stop me at any time. So like,
No, I am like I'm very emotional about it. Just because like I am blessed to be in the position that I am, and I think for me in this stage right now, I'm privileged to be able to say that the trauma comes when something positive happens. I'm starting to work on putting a curriculum. I don't know, maybe we'll work on it together. Because people don't recognize when you have an inclusive environment how that rattles marginalized people. Like, I don't even know what the fuck is happening, right? You're like,
yeah,
why is everyone listening to me? Why isn't anybody arguing with me? Like, it's a real thing.
Yep.
And they're like, I'm just treating you like everybody else. It's like, what? Like, you just want to give people your wallet. Like, you just don't know what's happening. This
Right.
isn't real. And I got emotional because my boss was like, last month, a couple months ago, was like, I know you've been really going through a lot. You should take the week off.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, this is the second I'm damn near 50. I've taken 2 week-long vacations in my life, and both of them, one was this past Christmas, and the other one was this past week. Ever in my life.
Well, so we're going to talk about thriving in one's personal life in a separate conversation, because I'm like, rest
Okay,
and
yeah,
restorative
baby steps.
practice. But I
Baby
totally understand. And so in doing this research is it's obviously very close to my heart for a few reasons. One, I'm a Black woman. Because sometimes people are like, why Black women? Why not like all women of color? And I was like, I am a Black person. Therefore, I wanted to study Black women. That
Right.
should be obvious to you. It should not be this question over here.
It's the hand gestures for me.
Right, like, do you see me? But then the second reason is that, like, sort of tying this into like just being a DEI practitioner, I have sat through I've given so many trainings where I have literally watched Black women never talk.
Yes.
I have done trainings where Black women come up to me privately and say, thank you for saying that.
Yes.
I have had Black women come up to me and say, I agree with you, but I'm not going to open my mouth
Mm-mm.
because ...
Yes.
And I was like, what are we doing this for? Going back to the
Right.
beginning, like, if you feel like after this training, you still can't open your mouth, I'm not actually going to look at you, Black woman, and go like, that's your fault. I'm like, this, and I do come from like a nonprofit and philanthropic background, but I'm going to say like across the board, organizational systems are broken.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I very much, we did this research, and I very much said, at no point in this research, when we write recommendations, will we ask Black women to do anything. The recommendations are written to organizations.
Yes.
They are written to managers and leaders. There is never there, and in this research, like, that felt very important for me to like hold that line in a very strong way, because it kind of is like an undercurrent of when, even if I'm like, as I'm talking to you all, I was like, the thing I'm not going to do, that we're not going to do, and why I feel like this is exciting to me, is that I was like, we will never say you have to navigate this space that wasn't built for you. I'm tired of it. I'm not
Same.
doing it. Like, I'm not saying it. I'm not giving you navigation skills, which is very interesting because outside of our DEI practitioner circle here, everybody's like, what advice would you give Black women? And I've had to say, like, none. I'm not giving Black women. And then they're like, wait, what? I was like, here's my advice. Do this work if you want to. Take care of yourself. Deeply rest.
Mm-hmm.
Let people who have called themselves allies decide that they're going to stand in solidarity with them. Like, I am not telling Black women to do anything. But I hope that this work is meant to center them and to say to organizations, now it's your turn. So I'll stop. Let me know if you have questions. What questions do you have? Thoughts, responses, whatever.
What my response is that we need a part 2. That's
My
my first
response is
response.
I'm taking a fucking nap. Katie, you're
Yeah.
on your I'm
Okay.
napping.
All right.
I was like, we haven't even talked about any of the results yet.
No,
but
I'm like, oh my
And
goodness
I've got
gracious.
to know.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
can't believe
We
it.
have to
Like,
hear all the
oh
things.
my gosh.
Okay. So
We should ask people for samples. Like, it's our first time meeting, we're hanging out. Maybe we need a sample so that we know that we
So
need more time.
yeah. So I want to respond to what you're saying because amen. I think the message, like, I cannot tell you how many trainings that just literally make my skin crawl of, we need to teach women how to physically take up more space, or how to be in a room, or how to speak, or how to blah, blah, blah. And
So
I think
Bob,
it goes back
basically what you want is for men to become, you want women to act
to
more
become
like
men,
men.
right? And not just men, a very particular narrow
yeah.
view of what a man is in
Mhm.
their mind. And but if they do that, they're also bitches. So let's be clear.
Mhm.
So they actually can't do that. So like it's so refreshing to hear this. And it's something that I hope everyone who's listening really hears that message, if nothing else, of your ERGs, all of your DEI work. And I think this is not the work of people of color or of whatever marginalized group you want to talk about.
Mhm.
This is everyone's work.
Mhm.
And Jackye needs a nap.
I need a nap. It just makes me laugh because it actually is my job. So,
No,
but
even
I don't have
fair.
to do it in other spaces, right? Like,
Right.
I think that that is what's so important to say. And I listen, true story. I'm the VP of TA and DEI. So I'm talking, and the woman said, literally yesterday, I had to see. That's why Beyonce is so fresh on the mind, because I talked to the candidate, and she said, I was like, what's your experience in inclusive spaces or places striving to be inclusive, or have you had your own personal journey? Because I'm curious. No, I wouldn't know those things. I would have to do research. And I was like, where would you start? And then they said where they would start. And then they said, do you have anything for me? I go, I have nothing for you.
What went through my mind was to throw this headset off. Um,
Right? And I was just like, and someone goes, someone, I mean, if you followed me, people who followed me through the years know that I'm in a different space. I'm also, close to 50. And I also am, had life experiences, and they say, "Oh, you don't care anymore." No, I care very much. And just like everyone else, we can't get there if we can't have real talk. And I'm just glad. I really want to know the research. I had a client this past week tell me, or a guy wanted to show me his inclusion software, which I usually don't say. And he goes, "What do you?" Now keep in mind, I'm the only person there. There's two people from representatives, and I said, "So what did your studies say about the difference between black women or men and women?" He goes, "They want the same things." I was like, "No, they don't." And I was like, "What about black women?" He's like, "Black women and white women want the same things." I go, "Now I know you're a lie." And now I know you're a lie, because white women want black women to get out of the way. So we can't, those two things, that's impossible. That's not true.
Mhm.
And he goes, "Actually, I haven't done the research." I was like, you know what? Listen,
You're like,
you
I
want to
already
break
knew
my
that.
soul. You want to break my soul. Listen.
See, and I
Mm.
would have been like, well, no shit, Sherlock, because I literally,
Right.
like, that was a trick question. That was a trick
Yeah,
question.
you weren't supposed to
And you
even, the
failed.
fact
So
that you said
yeah,
same.
yeah, we're
What?
done.
We don't even
Um,
want to wear the same kind of socks. How you
okay,
gonna, we can't agree.
listen, hold on a second.
Listen,
Hold
no,
on,
what?
hold on,
Jackie's
hold
like,
on, hold
let's
on.
continue. It's 7 o'clock.
Okay. No, I know. I'm like,
Yeah, same.
I need to
Oops.
push pause. So we're gonna pause here.
Yeah.
But Ericka, I want you back for part 2, and we'll get it. We'll, after we stop recording, we'll figure this out, because
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
get part 2 going, because I want to hear all of the results of the research. What is one thing though from this conversation you want folks to take away?
Um, Gosh. Okay. I think one thing that I want folks to take away, and I think Katee, it was something that you said, um, that I'm like deeply, deeply, deeply believe, which is this piece of like, we are not going to achieve inclusion and equity if we don't do the self work that we have to do and like maintain,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, the reason I say practitioner, and I say this, is because it's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not walking around Ericka Hines inclusive individual. Ericka Hines likes her little group of people. Like, I have to work at
Mm-hmm.
this. I'm not trying to entertain somebody who's different than me. But I have to work. So I'm like, what I want you to realize is like, it takes you continuing to work on yourself and being a part of like the group and the collective that's trying to make the change. Gosh, and now can I say another one? Can I say one?
Yeah. See,
Absolutely.
this is what I told you. This is what happens. There's never just one. Jackye and I are so bad at this game, but we do it every time because it's fun.
And stop thinking that DEI is like, I say this all the time. I am not Harry Potter. I am not walking into here. I say this like at the beginning. I am not Harry Potter. I am not here. If I could actually tap my wand and make your place inclusive and equitable, first of all, I would not be working with you because I would be a billionaire because I could just do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so stop thinking that if you just do this thing, it'll suddenly happen. I'm like, it's a whole bunch of things. It takes like behavior and skills and software. And I'm like, I need you to realize the enormity of this. And yes, be like overwhelmed by it, but also just realize that's what it takes and just get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you. Jackye, what you got?
I'm taking a nap, and I people really need to, you know, hug a DEI practitioner. I don't think people recognize the work that we do. And I want to give Ericka a big like hug and have that support. And I know that it stands out to me to know that you haven't had a lot of conversations with a lot of other DEI practitioners. And that hurts my heart because this is hard. I don't know if I could do it without cussing people out with Katie. I don't know what I would do. So I think like I want people to know that this is really hard work. It is a practice, and it's something that that it takes an area of expertise. And one book, one training, and one person is just not going to get it done.
It's funny that you just said that, Jackye, because as we were talking, I literally sent a text message to one of our friends, Viva Asmalash, and I'm like, you have to listen to this episode we're recording right now because she is a DEI practitioner, and I am like, I know it's hard right now. It's just hard. Not even just right now. I know it's hard.
No, yeah, yeah.
And so, yes, spot on. And so everyone needs to go hug a DEI practitioner today. For me, I think it's the stop asking Black women to do this work.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has
Period.
to be, yeah, it has to be.
Period.
Everyone else needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's also the part that will be the hardest thing for people to wrap their brains around. But it's not an excuse.
Yep.
Stop asking Black women to do
That's why I
this
don't
work.
do ERGs. This is why I mean, that's a whole nother thing. We need to stop talking.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I was like, wait, I need to also add these
Wait,
3
what?
points.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
So we'll be back, folks. Don't you worry. This is Katie Van Horn.
And this is Jackye Clayton. Bye.
Bye.